Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us. We're glad that you could spend some time with us today. So we are all here as representatives of Webster University School of Education, and we're very excited to talk to you about the programs that we have that are connected to our special education expertise. So can we have next slide, please? This is our information session. We are offering two. We're at the 2:30 to 3:30 block. We will also repeat this again for those who are later dismissed. My name is Stephanie Mahfood. I'm the interim dean of the School of Education and also proud alum of our special education program at the master's level many, many years ago, as well as a professor in the Department of Teacher Education. So I also teach within some of our special education programs. I'm going to let my esteemed colleagues, Renee and Danny, introduce themselves. Renee, how about you?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Renee Rockwell. I'm an assistant professor with the Department of Teacher Education. I, too, am an alum from our special ed program, and I am an advisor to the program. And I would welcome all of you to listen to the rest of this information session and ask us any questions when you have them. Danny, take it away.
All right, thanks, Renee. And thanks everyone for joining us. I'm Danny Pizzella. I am a board certified behavior analyst at the doctoral level. I'm also an alum and also a lecturer in the department. And I am in charge of our behavior analysis program. So I'll be talking about that a little bit today.
So you see a theme of alums, people who go to Webster tend to stick with Webster. It's some of Webster's magic. Here's our agenda. So we just did introductions. We usually do a who is in the room activity. I think we'll skip that for now because we've had some discussions already. I'm going to give you an overview of our program ethos and sort of our vision in the School of Ed and how we do our work. I'll give you a little bit of information about our MAT program. Then Danny will fill us in on the BCBA program, and then we will talk about SSD incentives, grants, tuition reimbursement. Renee will help us a little bit with that. And then we will move on with our day. Next slide. We have several principles that guide our work together in the School of Education. And so I always like to tell everyone that we teach teachers about teaching by teaching, which is a very meta way to think about teacher education, but it's very true. So we not only are trying to teach teachers about best practice and research-based practice, but we're doing that by our actual teaching of them. So modeling in our teaching what we would want our teachers to be doing with their own students in their classroom. So for example, I can't just talk about differentiation of instruction. I can, but an even more powerful way of teaching about it is to model it in my own class that I teach. We teach about universal design for learning, and we teach about it, but we also model it in the classes that we teach, etc. We believe that teachers learn to teach in community with each other. Teaching is a collective act. We don't learn how to become teachers in isolated rooms by ourselves. It takes a team, an ongoing team of communities of practice to help us become good and ever evolved in this very, very complex craft that we are about. And then we also believe very strongly to empower our students to become creative advocates for the families and the students that they serve. So we're always trying to dip our students' toes in the waters of this is what the state of play and the current context is, and we're trying to turn your eyes to what could it be. What if we took a piece of this innovative idea and tried to apply it to our practice? That is how systems change incrementally for students and families. Next slide. All right, so the Masters of Art in Teaching with an emphasis in special education. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that. This is the initial certification at the graduate level for special education. So if you are not a certified teacher and you have an undergraduate degree in something else and you are interested in being a certified SPED teacher, this is the program for you. So obviously, as a teacher preparation program, we really teach our candidates in collaboration with each other. We often co-teach together to model this best practice so that that students get a sense of that and how that works in addition to learning about it. Next slide. We challenge our candidates to house their practice and instructional decision-making in a strong philosophical stance. One of the things that we know about teachers and what keeps them in the field is that having a strong vision and philosophy about who they are and what they are about as educators in the field is a very important variable in keeping them in the field. It doesn't mean that your philosophy is static. It doesn't mean that it doesn't change over time. And it doesn't mean that you're not flexible in how you apply that philosophy in your practice. But it does provide you with a lens to make decisions and to guide kind of those operational pieces that you are doing in your practice. And so we are consistently trying to pull you to what do you believe? Why do you believe it? And how does that then manifest itself in your practice? So you'll have multiple iterations of that exercise so that you walk out as a very sort of vision and mission-centered educator as you walk into or continue in your practice in the classroom. There's a breakdown of our hours in the program. So 36 hours of coursework, 14 hours of field experience. We do offer an alternative way to complete field experience hours, especially if you are a paraprofessional working in a special education classroom. So if you have been doing that for 2 years and you are in an accredited school and you're supervised by a certified teacher, there is a mechanism by which you can do your practicum experience at your job site. And then as you move on to apprentice teaching, instead of doing the sort of traditional apprentice teaching experience, we actually have a portfolio process that you can go through to get those hours for apprentice teaching, in addition to doing 20 days of teaching as the lead teacher. So that's a lot of information right now, but the takeaway is if you are a para, there is an alternative that will allow you to complete field experience requirements without quitting your job. That's the big takeaway there. Next slide. All right, and now I'm going to kick over to my colleague, Danny, to talk about applied behavior analysis.
Thank you. All right, hi, everyone. So I'm going to talk about our applied behavior analysis program. Through this program, we are helping to develop skills and abilities that you need in order to become a BCBA, and that stands for Board Certified Behavior Analyst. And this would allow you to work in the ABA associate role at SSD, and also allow you to communicate, behaviorally and responsibly and ethically, to engage in behavior analytic practices such as doing assessments and conducting functional assessments, and then also working in, ABA classrooms and getting to lead some of that ABA programming. So we do have 2 programs in this area. We have both a master's degree option as well as an advanced graduate certificate. So I'll talk about both of those. Next slide, please. So before I jump into what the actual programs look like, I want to talk a little bit about what ABA is. So ABA is the science and practice for educators, as well as healthcare professionals working in schools, agencies, residential centers, and family settings that allows us to decrease maladaptive behaviors while increasing the skills that we want to see. These programs are overseen by something called ABAI, and that is our accreditation body. You can see the logo down there. That's the Association for Behavior Analysis International. we are a verified course sequence, which means that our course sequence is going to allow you to sit for your BCBA exam through the BACB. That's the certification board that monitors the examination to become a BCBA. So that's really important. You'd be going through a verified course sequence. You're not going to have any issues in terms of completing the coursework and being able to actually sit for your exam. You can go to the next slide, please. So our first program is the MA SPED with an emphasis in ABA. This is a completely online program where you're getting a master's degree in special education, and the focus is going to be on behavior analysis. So it's going to work on teaching you about socially significant skills that you might work on with your students, like feeding or communication. It's going to teach you how to build independence in your students and learners' lives, increase the quality of their life. It's going to also teach you how to work on decreasing behaviors that you may not want to see. You're going to work with a variety of skilled instructors that work throughout the fields. You do have an applied research project as a capstone course in this program. So you're able to get to do some applied research within the field of behavior analysis. And you're going to get a multidisciplinary approach because this is not simply an ABA degree, it is a master's in special education. So you're going to get, the background in special education as well as the information that you need about behavior analysis in order to be successful. Next slide, please. All right, and this is our advanced graduate certificate. So this is if you already have a master's degree, but you would like to go back to school to become a behavior analyst, this is the program for you. This is a 21 credit hour online program. It is 4 semesters. You're going to go through different topics, very similar to what we just talked about in the master's degree: functional behavior assessment, analysis, intervention, ethics. You're going to learn about skill assessment and writing intervention programs and teaching skills, but it's going to be a little bit more abbreviated. The thing to note is that there are plenty of jobs within the field of behavior analysis. I know that you guys know there are plenty of jobs within the field of behavior analysis at SSD. SSD is always hiring within the ABA department. And so there's lots of jobs available to very growing fields, and it will continue to be a growing field. So this could be a really, kind of interesting path if you have been working, say, as a paraprofessional and you're interested in expanding your skills or moving into a different role, but not necessarily being a teacher. This might be the right path for you. All right, next slide, please. And I'm going to turn it over to Renee.
Good afternoon, everyone. We appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Your special school district administrators could not attend for this session, but we wanted to let you know that they do have on the SSD Gateway site the benefits that allow for teachers or paras to get tuition remission or approved credits towards increase in salary. And so if you go to the HR benefits area on the SSD Gateway, that would help you find that information. And just so you know, we offer a corporate partnership program that allows our tuition to be reduced by 20%, which basically equals any of our state programs. It's aligned with, like, if you went to Mizzou or UMSL. So the credits would be aligned with that. And it's just a simple form that you have to fill out and also get it approved through HR. So we wanted to share that information with you. We are going to take your questions through our, I'm getting ready to show you the slide where you can contact us, but we want to thank you for your time today. And if you have any questions, please contact us in one of these routes. Thank you.